The town of Berlin. Country charm at the center of Connecticut.
Okay, all right, welcome everybody to our town council meeting. If we can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, and Happy New Year, by the way, to everyone as well. So we have our roll call.
Councilor Stetson. Here. Councilor Giuliano.
Here.
Mayor Kaczynski.
Here.
Councilor Luddy.
Here.
Councilor Pagliaro. Here. Councilor Payanessa.
Here.
Councilor Rosso.
Here.
There you have a quorum.
Thank you. So now we have our audience of citizens, so it's the time that anyone in the audience that is here wishes to address the council on whatever topic you wish to speak about. This would be the time. So, see anybody that wants to talk to us? One going once, twice, three times. Okay, I see no one, so we'll go ahead and close that part of the meeting, and we'll move on to our meeting agenda, starting with our consent agenda. There's numerous topics on the consent agenda. Most of them are accepting some donations, which are all great to see, and putting up some plaques. So we've all reviewed them. Before we take a motion, do we have any questions on any of them? Hearing no questions, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
I will make a motion to accept the items on the consent agenda tonight.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moved.
I'd like to make the motion, Mayor,
Yep.
to add a new agenda item and make that 2A, since it's related to item number 3 that Kate sent us this morning.
Okay, second on that?
Second.
Yeah, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. All right, so we are on topic number 1.
Agenda item number 1 is to recognize a student from the high school for her initiative in decorating downtown. I think from the center of Kensington on Main Street. Lizzie Swan came to us. Lizzie, come on up.
Oh, come on up. What the heck? Come on.
She came to she sent us an email, and she said that she wanted to see decorations in the town. Originally, we were going to try to do some, we were going to look for some lighting and things like that. Unfortunately, due to the time, the lights didn't work, but she took the initiative to get some decorations, work with us, work with Chris Edge, work with Sheil, work with Jack Rudy, pretty much all of us to get the decorations put up for Christmas, which is a great thing. We'd had many requests about decorations, so this is our first step. And then as a response to that, we are going to, budget season's coming, we are going to ask for some money for next year so we can put a few decorations up in town and help fund this. But anyway, I just wanted, and I'd also like to recognize Fresh Monkey, because they, in your acceptance of the donations, there's a $300 donation for Fresh Monkey for the Christmas decorations, so I'd like to recognize them also. But I think we should give a round of applause and thank you to Lizzie Swan for her initiative and everything she did.
Lizzie, thank you very much. Your project came at a good time because we did get a lot of questions on, we do have some decorations we put out, but not a lot, and so we certainly appreciate your efforts and your initiative, and you saved the day. So we can save some face, and we'll put some money in our budget to do a little bit more next year, and hopefully with your help we can add some more decorations. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
On to agenda item number 2 is to accept a donation of a timber bridge for Sage Park. We have students from Central Connecticut State University who contacted us, and they wanted to, they're participating in a national timber bridge design competition, and they wanted to donate a bridge to Sage Park. good part about I like about that is, of course, being an engineer, I like that it's engineered, so it should comply with building codes and other things. So anyway, they are here, Jenna Choa, to discuss the donation of the bridge.
I'm not even going to try to explain. I'm going to let them talk about their proposal. Okay. So, hi.
Can you identify yourself for the record and just give your name and your count?
So my name is Audrey Trock. This is Jennifer Ventura and Christiana Kabila, and we are senior students at Central Connecticut State University. We're studying civil engineering, and as part of a senior project, we're doing a timber bridge design and build competition. And to add on to it, we thought it would be a good idea to design a tool location for a town that would need a new bridge. We are working closely with professors and also a structural engineer to make sure that everything will be structurally sound. Also part of the competition is that our bridge will be tested. So, yeah. We
Have
have
the council walk over it first to make sure that we make it over, or what?
do a ceremony. We were fully funded too, which is good. So
That's great.
We don't ask for any funds.
Well, that's great. How did we get so lucky that we got you guys to do this? Just kind of...
You guys had a bridge that fit our competition.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. Well, I'm glad.
We called a few towns and we looked at places that needed something and
Oh.
just Sage Park fit. So
Great.
both got lucky here.
Yeah, I guess so. Everybody's a winner in this. Well, we really appreciate that, and we look forward to it. We've had we've had some Eagle Scout projects that have worked on our parks and done, I think, a couple of bridges too over the last few years. So it's a great way to get our bridges fixed, at no cost. We're very happy, and we're great to assist in your education too.
We'll pass it on to next year if you guys need more bridges.
Great, perfect. Good.
Congratulations on, it's fabulous.
Oh, thank you. I have a handout too. I don't know if everybody got a picture.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we'll get the pictures, yeah.
Yeah, it's really nice looking, thank you.
It's very nice. So thanks a lot. So, if there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
I'm good. Move to accept the donation of a timber bridge to replace the existing bridge adjacent to Sage Pond.
Second.
Thank you very much. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So move forward and build your bridge. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Agenda item number 2A, is to authorize the town manager to enter a contract with the Antic for surveying services related to parcels on Farmington Avenue, 861, 889, 903, and 913. Chris Edge is here. This is regarding the boulevard, or the proposed boulevard that we've been designing for several years for that area. So Chris Edge is here to discuss this.
Thank you, Jack. Yes, this is working with Yantic on a survey for 861, 889, 903, and 913 Farmington Avenue. These are the properties we're working with the Newport Realty Group. Essentially what this is doing is taking the concepts we've been shown and talking about, getting an actual survey done with the property lines so that moving forward we'll have those exactly, which will help us as well from a town perspective as we're working with the different issues that 889 has, and really just getting your approval to move forward with this group. Yantic Group is also working closely with Newport, so the good thing is Yantic will be working with both us and the Newport Group, and there's a familiarity that we have with the Yantic Group.
Good. That's great. Any questions for Chris?
Will they report back to us?
Yes.
Any other questions? If not, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion as amended, the action needed here, list 903 twice. Should say 913. So I will move to waive the town's bidding process to authorize the town manager to enter into a contract with Yantic Inc. to prepare surveys for 861, 889, 903, and 913 Farmington Avenue, as modified by reservation of the land for Boulevard, including portions of Farmington Avenue for the Boulevard, and as for as-built of 889 Farmington Ave, post-remediation capping for a fee of $14,400, $2,000 that is to be paid from the Regional Brownfields Grant Account, demolition and environmental remediation, $3,100 from the Land Appraisal Services Account, and $9,300 from the Steep Boulevard at Berlin Train Station account, since this is in the best interest of the town.
Second. Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Agenda item number
So just while you're there, Chris, so after the presentation on our TOD development there, it went to economic development after us, right?
Yes.
And they were,
Yes, Economic Development had seen it last evening. I had a couple questions, but they were supportive. And the Newport Group had mentioned that they will come back to any and all of us, Economic Development, Planning and Zoning, Town Council, as needed to present for any questions.
One question.
Yes?
What was the parking on the boulevard? Is it still drive-in?
Right now, that has not been determined. I think that's kind of one of the, whether it's angled or it's straight in, still to be determined.
Yeah.
I think the survey itself is going to help us a lot in telling us exactly where the boundaries are.
Okay, thanks.
okay, thanks, Chris.
Okay, agenda item number 3 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the town manager to enter a grant agreement. We received $325,000 on a Brownfields grant, and it's going to be used for mitigating groundwater issues and also for capping the Conrail spur once we get to the point where we are purchasing it. So anyway, Chris is here to go over the details.
Yes, this is grant we had received to continue the work they're doing on 889 as well as the Conrail spur. The money is essentially be used for the work we're doing at 889 as well as if we decide to purchase the Conrail spur to help us on any remediation issues. So again, this is a grant from the state. This is essentially just authorizing the town manager to sign the grant agreement with the state of Connecticut. Essentially, this will be in coordination with what we're doing with Newport. We are still working with Conrail, but these monies essentially, instead of coming out of our pocket, is coming from them if we need to do any remediation with the spur, as well as any unanticipated costs on 889.
Okay, thank you. Any further questions for Chris? Hearing none, take a motion.
Okay, I move to adopt the attached resolution authorizing the town manager to enter into a grant agreement with the Connecticut Department of Economic and Community Development for a $325,000 Brownfields grant for additional funds to mitigate groundwater issues related to 889 Farmington Avenue for capping of the Conrail spur, subject to review and approval of Corporation Council, and to appropriate $325,000 grant to the train station redevelopment brownfield grant account, subject to the approval of the Board of Finance.
Thank you. Second on that?
Second.
Thank you very much. Any further questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Agenda item number 4 is to authorize the town manager to enter into a grant agreement for a National Fish and Wildlife Foundation grant. You would authorize us to apply for a grant for the Fishway. This is in association with the reconstruction and renovation of the Kensington Dam. So we've been awarded a $250,000 grant for that, and now we need your authorization to sign the grant agreement. And Chris is here. Chris and Jim Mahoney worked on putting together the application, and Chris actually went down to Long Island to receive the big check.
Okay.
Not too much to add. It happened to be a program that the Long Island Sound Fund, which is part of National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, had particularly for helping fish and wildlife. Happened to be something that we put an application in. It'll actually help out our project with the fish as well, and we're very pleased to get it. Nice to find out that when the money is available too, we're able to get it. We're working very closely with Public Works as well as DEEP in Hartford on this project. So we have support from both local and the state side on this. Yes, sir.
It's not a fish ladder, right, per se? Is it more like a tube?
Yes.
Yes.
It's more like a tube. Yeah, and we have
So
to...
we won't have bear out there grabbing?
No.
Okay.
Not unless they get inside the tube.
Yeah, okay.
And there's also, believe it or not, an eel lift that goes along with this.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And DEP helped us a lot with the application making it out and filling it. So it already complies with their design standards.
Thanks.
The bear are too busy eating out of our trash. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Go over, but yeah, the ladder, right?
Yeah.
Chris, would this be similar to the one that Albee Clad put in East Berlin?
Yes, it'd be very, very similar, probably slightly newer version-wise, but I believe they had worked with the same folks at Deep that we did.
It seems to be a popular attraction for them. People always want to go there and
Yes.
look at it for whatever reason, but
Our hopes is when we get this done is we're going to be able to make it so people can actually access this and take a look at this one too at the dam. So as part of the renovation, we'll see. But we'd like to make the Kensington, the pond there a little more accessible to people by the time we're done with this.
Great. Okay, take a motion.
okay, move to authorize the town manager to enter into a grant agreement with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation for a grant for the railroad pond dam repair and fishway, subject to review and approval of the Corporation Council, and to appropriate the $250,000 grant to account railroad pond dam, subject to approval of Board of Finance.
Second.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Agenda item number 5 is for the town council to consider the contract between the Berlin Board of Education and the Berlin Education Association. Brian Benigni and Denise Parsons are here to go over the details.
Great. Come on up, Brian. Denise. Happy New Year, guys. How we doing?
Good for you.
Thanks for coming, Brian.
You're welcome.
Denise, thanks.
Sure.
So we went as far as to mediation over the contract. The settlement for the contract over 3 years is at 8.65%, which is right around the state average for teacher settlements. We did go up in our deductibles for insurance over a 3-year period. We also looked at raising the health, what we were at 19.5%. We're going to 20, 20.5, and 21 over 3 years. So all in all, it was a fair contract, as it may seem. The next step was to go to arbitration, which we were sitting on that until that Friday, where we had some further discussion. As you probably are aware, arbitration is somewhere between $75,000 and $100,000. And typically what happens is we may win one and lose another. So with the perspective of our attorney as well as the mediator, the board opted to settle on the contract. I don't know if you have any questions.
Is it 8% over the 3 years?
8.65% over 3 years.
Over 3 years?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe I'm interpreting it differently, but in the back it says 2 for 2019, 2 for 2020, and then 2 for 2021?
I can give you, prior to starting negotiations, the just step and increment was 5.89. That's with no increase. So
got it.
So the increase, but the first year, it's 2.49. The second year is 3.04, and the third year is 3.12. But please understand, it's not that every teacher is receiving that rate. It's also included with the step that they have. So
Right.
teachers that aren't at max step.
Right.
So what we do is we decide the overall percent increase, and then we typically let the teachers union have some say in where they set it.
Understood.
And they're pretty happy with this as well, or as happy as they're going to be, maybe?
I think
no one's ever happy, but...
No, I think if you look at the overall where teachers fall within Hartford County, they're right in the mean and the median.
Okay.
And this keeps them, getting an average settlement keeps them there
Okay.
within the middle, which, allows us to recruit highly qualified people and not have, so I think it's a good contract. I think
Okay.
that they realize it's a good contract,
Okay.
given it's not to say that it's not the top,
Right.
but it's not the bottom either. So therefore, I think it's a good
I'm
contract.
pretty happy with it, too?
Yes, I'm happy with it. I think the board's happy with it at this point.
Okay. Great. Any other questions?
Denise, I don't know if you want to-
Denise, do you have any comments? Please, Denise.
Do I have any comments?
Yeah.
I think it's a fair contract as well. I think we went as far as we could with them. There was a lot of holdout on behalf of the teachers for quite a while. Arbitration did not end nicely. 3 or 4 days later, Brian was able to one with the president kind of settle the language and get us there. But it was a difficult negotiation. I do think that we got a very fair settlement.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks. Any other questions? No? Thank you. We'll take a motion.
Now, there's no motion
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, I see that possible
unless
action.
you want to reject this contract.
Oh, okay.
So if you've had your answers,
Yes.
you're okay with the contract, go on to the next one.
Well, let's see if we're all okay. Are we all okay with the contract?
I am.
Everybody good?
Good.
We're good. We're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll move on to number 6.
Number 6 on your agenda is discussion and review of the statement of needs from the Commission on Aging and Park and Recreation Commission. As part of we talked about this for the senior/community center. The next step in the process
Our
is,
agenda items are on.
I'm sorry, but I sent out an email saying that the items have to be switched.
6 and
We're
7.
following the agenda and not the order. These were last-minute items. So you're going to go to what is your label, number 7. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't see anything.
okay. I don't know how much, we've talked about this going for several meetings now. The next step in the process, you reviewed a report that Jim Mahoney and I submitted to you about the process. The next step in the process is to submit for you to receive the statement of needs. You have an opportunity to discuss and review them. At some point, you need to move to approve them, and then you also need to move to forward them to the Public Building Commission. The work that'll be done by the Public Building Commission will be funded by, is potentially going to be funded by the grant that the state of Connecticut has offered to the town. I say it that way because we have not signed the contract at this point. The contract, we're working with the town attorney on it. There is some wording changes and some details that need to be worked out, so we're still working on those details. But according to the charter, we received the statement of needs, and those need to be forwarded to you, and then you need to act on them and forward them on to the Public Building Commission. And Barbara Gombatz is here from the Senior Center, and Jenna Choa from the Park and Rec Department. If you have any questions about they submitted the statement of needs. If you have any questions, they're here if you want to ask them.
Yeah.
Discuss it with them.
Come on up. You want to come up? Yeah, come on up. Maybe you could review it a little bit with us? Is that okay, Barbara?
What's that?
You want to come up and just review it with us a little bit?
Oh, sure.
Help us get through it a little bit,
Okay.
appreciate
With
it.
your cane, or you good? No, I'm good. As you know, Barbara Gombatz, 24 Sterling Drive, Kensington.
Barbara.
As you know, we have been very active in trying to procure this grant, and we're very happy that we have the grant, and we hope that we're going to go forward with it. We're looking for, I don't know what the next step is. What is the next step?
Well, the next step is for the council to review the statement of needs, both of them. They have a chance to review them, approve them, and then they would move to approve them, and then send it to the Public Building Commission.
Okay. We have submitted our statement of need to what we know of right now. We do want to be on the committee that's going to be taking a look at this, and we want to have some input. And this is, we're very happy that we're being considered for this. So if you have any questions?
Well, just so far, I think at the last town council meeting, they requested the town manager send a letter to the Public Building Commission requesting that they engage or form a committee to help to provide them input into the process. And that letter was sent to them.
Okay, and we definitely would want to be part of that process to look into that and give us our input. We have looked into some other areas, other Park and Rec, other senior centers, and we kind of know what we need and want, but there might be a few changes along the way. But for right now, I think we're pretty happy with what we submitted. Jen, do you have anything?
Actually, I have a question for you, Barbara.
Yeah.
As I'm reading this, I noticed at the very end, it talks about, excuse me while I take my glasses off here, planning process includes an evaluation of building, blah, blah, blah. with the YMCA or other private entity. I'd like your opinion. Do you feel that it would be best for seniors to be part of the YMCA? Because I, for one, do not agree with that.
The Commission for the Aging has stated many times, we do not want to partner with the YMCA.
Thank you.
We feel that the seniors, and we have discussed this down at the senior center with the seniors, it should be a Berlin building. If we partner with the YMCA, the seniors have to take memberships. We have to have the rooms when they're available to us. What we want to do is have the seniors and Park and Rec together so that they could, the seniors want to be home by 4 o'clock. The kids come in after that. So that is the best situation for them to use the buildings, the whole building all the time for the seniors. And I just feel that to partner with the Y does not give us a flexibility that we need.
Thank you for your comment.
Jen? Yeah, I don't have much to say. I tried to be as detailed as possible with the Parks and Rec Commission. It is obviously the dream facility. Obviously, we know based on when funds come back if we have to cut things like, certain areas. But this was what the Parks and Rec Commission really wanted to put forward as what they would like in the building as a shared space with the senior center, same thing.
So a 57,000 square foot number here is total for the whole project, both.
Yeah.
Any other questions of Barbara or Jen? Good. All right, so appreciate your input.
I have one question, actually.
Yeah.
The 8-lane lap pool, I'm assuming that would suffice for the high school swim team's needs and whatever
Yeah, it
needs
meets
they
the
would have?
requirements for this class, for CIAC.
Okay, and eight lanes is enough, or too
Yes.
big, too small, just right?
8 lanes is perfect.
Okay,
That's it, thank you.
thanks. Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. So,
Two motions.
yeah, 2 motions. So if the council is comfortable with your statement of needs, we have reviewed it, read it over before tonight and heard your comments, so we appreciate you guys being here. So we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I will move to approve the submitted statement of needs.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you very much. Any further comments on that? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And a second motion?
Okay, move to forward the Public Building Commission to the Public Building Commission as required by Section 8.3.11 of the Town Charter. Funding will be provided by the State of Connecticut grant. Sorry.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you very much. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. So we will move on to the Public Building Commission, and we'll try and, I know Jack will be talking to them, and, they'll be the ones, we'll put some committee together, which would include, I'm sure will include you guys, and Park and Rec, and some other people that obviously have an interest, and start moving forward.
Very good.
Thank you. Thanks, Barbara.
I want to thank you all for your time too, and for looking into this. This is going to be such a wonderful thing for the town of Berlin, but we have to start somewhere, and the grant is a good start. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Okay.
Number 7. This is for a fire alarm upgrade for the McGee Middle School. It's based on using funds from Department 61, and it's based on a State of Connecticut DAS grant, contract. And Doug Solik is here to discuss the application, or the installation.
Sure. Why not? You're here. What the heck? You don't want to just sit back there in the back row, do you? Fine with you, right? Yeah.
Good evening, happy New Year.
Hey, how you doing? Same to you. How's it going?
Yeah, this we've been trying to do this for a few years now, and it was funded this year. There's been a lot of troubles, faults, fire trucks rolling.
Yeah.
unnecessarily. So just through the age of it, the size of the building, we found a system that is pretty cost effective. It meets the codes. It should eliminate some of the troubles we've been having, bring us up to date with the latest and greatest technology, and give us a better addressable system. And so just part of the maintenance upgrades we're doing at that school.
That's great. Glad we're finally getting it done. Everybody's safe. Okay, any questions of Doug? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and take a motion.
Okay, I will move to utilize the State of Connecticut DAS contract number 15 PSX0230 and approve the proposal from Integrated Technical Systems, Inc. of Wallingford, Connecticut for an amount not to exceed $49,904, which includes a 7% contingency to perform the required upgrade to the McGee Middle School fire alarm system.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vic.
Agenda item number 8 is to request a waiver on the bidding process for Woodard and Curran to do engineering work on installation of the supervisory control and data acquisition. That's typically called SCADA. It's a common instrumentation package that's used on wastewater systems. This is a continued upgrade of the Elton well field. And Woodard and Curran has been the consulting firm has been working on the well field, including the installation of well 2A. Ray Jarema is here to discuss the details.
Hello, Ray.
Good evening. How are you? A little bit of history. Weston and Sampson were the engineers of the design of the well field. The actual new well is 1B, and Woodard and Curran then was the low bidder for the actual technical, mechanical, and also electrical work that needed to be done. At the time, we kind of ran out of money. We didn't do 2 items. As Jack just pointed out, the SCADA, SCADA, which is the supervisory control and data acquisition, and I'll get to that point as to what it's necessary for, and what we call VFDs. VFDs is a better way of operating the pumps. They're more efficient, more operationally, use less electricity, and variable frequency drives. That is sort of bringing us into the 21st century. Those kind of things are more common now, and they're much more better in terms of efficiency. So those are the type of things we'd like to have. Woodard and Curran basically indicated that they have some time. They're giving us a fairly decent price for the actual design. We'll actually look at the construction next fiscal year because we don't have enough to complete the project completely. And the SCADA process of it, just to give you an example, right now our field staff go out there, they turn the wells on for 20 hours per day. They come back the next day to make sure they're still running. We don't know if they've been shut down. We do chlorinate, we do fluoridate. I'm not so worried about underchlorination or underfluoridation for a short term is not a problem. Overchlorination, fluoridation is a problem. It could create a problem. Fluoride particularly, because fluoride is what happens with the high fluoride dosages, they actually replace calcium in the body, and it loosens and it makes the bones weaker. So we want to have something like that even going on for a short term. And then, of course, chlorination, on the other hand, you'd smell it, but if somebody got a huge dose of it, would vomit and get sick, so that's potentially. So these type of controls are necessary in order for us to have a better handle in terms of the operation of that well field.
Thanks. Any other questions? Right?
This account, is this funded by the water department?
Yes, it is.
So it's not regular tax funded when you're operating? I mean,
it's through our rates.
Yeah. Through your rates?
Yeah, I'm not sure where you're going with that, but
no, I mean,
yeah, it is for our rates. Yeah.
I didn't know which account that was by the number. Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we'll take a motion.
Okay, I will move to waive the bidding requirements and award Woodard and Curran a contract for the design and construction oversight of the instrumental upgraded Elton Road well field, not to exceed $60,000, includes a 10% contingency, as this is in the best interest of the town.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Agenda item number 9 is also for Ray. It's to award a contract for the installation of an emergency generator at the well field. It's a backup generator. Currently, there is no generator there. So, we're trying to upgrade the well field, get to current standards, and this is the next step for making sure the wells operate 24 hours a day, and so we're looking to put this generator in place.
Just an additional comment to this is this was a mandate by the Public Health Department, State Public Health Department. We missed the time frame a little because when we went out to bid initially, we went out basically back in October, the prices were way too high. We bid it again, and there were 3 bidders at this time, and the bid was well within our reach. And the low bidder was somebody who's had a lot of experience putting in generators in the state in our area, so it makes sense to go with them.
Okay, great. Thanks. Well, any questions? Further questions of Ray? Hearing none, we'll take a motion.
Okay, I move to award contract number 2019-07 to Electrical Energy Systems Corporation of Southington in the amount of $140,963 with a 10% contingency not to exceed $154,000 for the installation of the Elton Road well field generator.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you very much. Any further comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. I'd like to table the appointments. I think, because it's right after the first of the year, I've had people emailing, calling, missed the application, so we have a ton of them too. I wonder if we could...
It usually done at the second meeting.
Yeah.
So you're fine.
So if we could also maybe just get a easier chart to read with each, I'll talk to you about it, and we'll make sure, have all the names for each. Because it's just so many, it's an exhaustive list this time, it's tough to.
Kind of like a spreadsheet, is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah, maybe do like a spreadsheet, and then we'll make sure we get the word out that whoever, whatever, because there's a lot of vacancies on a lot of different commissions this time, and.
I've gotten calls, and if they're out of state, do they need to send in a slip? If they're currently on the commission?
And they want to...
Reappointment?
They want to be reappointed?
Yeah.
Yes. So historically, what we have said, the town manager's office sends out a letter in November saying that if you want to be reappointed, to please submit the application, and they have a yes/no letter. If people are not interested in being reappointed, we ask that they send it back so that we don't keep bothering them at that point, or somehow communicate. If they are interested, they should submit the application to the town manager's office. The application is a fillable form that is on our website, and that I can email to anyone who wants it, and then I put it in your packet.
Yeah. This person's in Florida.
And do they have an email?
I'll find out.
Or something? If nothing else, they should at least let us know they want to be on again.
Okay. All right, I'll find out.
All right. But I did send you an updated listing today that you may not have seen, but it's as of the people who have expressed interest somewhere or another, or has given me an application. So if there's someone else, if they have an email, that's great. If not, then all we can do is, I guess, tell the council that they're interested, and the council, if they've already been on before, the council may say okay.
All right.
But we have, and I've been here a long time, and everybody does things a little different. So through the years, that's why we've asked for the applications, but there's nothing that says in the charter that you have to have one.
Right.
It's the comfort level of the council.
Right. Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And just to that point, you may notice we are deficient in some of the commissions and boards or members, so we are trying to figure out ways to actively solicit people to become volunteers and volunteer for some of these boards, because we have some boards that we don't have a quorum. We would like to, I've talked to one of the newspapers, they were going to run an article, but we need to have people volunteer to be on these boards and
Yeah,
commissions.
that'd be a good idea. That's a good idea, and also, because I did note that, you had some boards, you got a lot of people that want it, and some boards, like you said, nobody wants it, or so maybe if we, it's always very difficult, because there's so many people to contact, but to ask people too, hey, if we don't get this one, how about this, try and get them something, somewhere, since sometimes we do have a surplus of names with one board and, like you say, no one at the other one. So just take a little time to maybe get the word out if anyone else wants to put something in, and then we'll come up with a spreadsheet maybe, and then maybe we can then look if there's, one position available and we got 5 people applying, maybe we can talk to some of them, and if the other position we have, nobody applying, and just try and get them to volunteer somewhere, which would be helpful to everyone, so we'll try and work on that next couple of weeks. If we could, if that makes sense to everybody. Okay, so we'll move on from that, and where are we at now?
Town manager.
We're at the town manager report, okay, right. Yep.
All right, so first thing on town manager's report is the ordinance committee. We've talked about having a meeting next Tuesday night. I believe we said 6 o'clock.
The 15th?
That's the 15th.
Did we, sorry.
We haven't said it, we haven't published it yet.
We could have moved that to Thursday, couldn't we? That
What's Thursday?
next, was it the 17th next week? Right?
I think, well, that's up to,
You won't be here next week? Who's on? Who's on?
I'm not, it's ordinance committee?
Yeah.
I am.
Charlie, Peter.
I'll be around.
Joanne. Joanne.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but I can come. Might be a couple minutes late, but I can come. Thursday, the 17th, you said?
That's what I was thinking, but now, Brendan, you're not here.
well, next week at all.
Probably got a lot of stuff on the agenda, huh?
Yeah, I was going to go over that with you. Still do it. We have the items, our tax abatement, we're still talking about a way of changing the ordinance so that we can have a tax abatement program for certain citizens based on their age and their economic situation. Working without a permit, we've had several situations where we have contractors that work without a permit. There used to be a penalty mechanism through the state of Connecticut that no longer exists. If you look at our ordinance, it did have a penalty fee in there, but it referred to the BOCA code. We've talked about trying to change our ordinance such that there's a way of charging a fee for working without a permit, or also occupying a building without a permit. As part of our discussion during the election season, we've talked about signage. Now, the planning and zoning has regulations on signs, but we were talking about signs that were temporary signs. I've been talking with our attorney, Capola. One of the things that is out there is that you can possibly just have put in place a temporary sign permit process. I'm not sure if that's what we're going to go, but so we have things for signs. The Golf Commission, number 4 is the Golf Commission has requested during their budget season, as part of the ordinance, they're required to match revenues to expenditures. They don't like that requirement. They would prefer not to have a requirement in the ordinance that says they have to match the revenues to expenditures and balance the budget. And the last one is, and I think you've seen this, where there's a leash, we have a request for a leash law. We don't define, when we say, in the ordinance, we define a person having an animal under restraint, but it means by a leash or otherwise under control of an individual. We've had, I'm going to say, several instances recently where people are walking in one of our parks or on some of our hiking trails, and dogs have been loose and they have approached the people. Nothing where anybody's been hurt, but they scare them. So they're requesting that we tighten up the leash law. That has something that came before the ordinance committee about 2 years ago, and they discussed it, and we modified the wording a little bit, but it still does not require them to have them on a leash. So those are the 5 issues for the ordinance committee.
We actually, a couple of years ago, discussed the leashes with dogs at Conservation Commission, because most of the complaints come from Bicentennial Park, right?
Yeah.
And that's where people bring their dogs to go running.
Exactly.
Running without a leash, off leash, whatever. So
What did you guys think, like, what was your consensus on that? Because we had
I don't think we really had a consensus,
okay. Same here,
because
yeah.
the other issue is too, when dogs are off leash, now mind you, I have 3 dogs, so I'm a dog lover.
I have a dog too, yeah, I know.
So there's also issues with picking up after your dog.
That's why there's dog parks.
Yes,
I know, which
exactly.
we don't have, and Bicentennial isn't. I think like a lot of us felt there should be leash, but some of us weren't quite there. It's kind of...
We heard a lot of people, both sides of that issue.
Right, right.
Because I mean, the dogs, I remember I was walking, my son when he was younger at Bicentennial, and he was allergic to, we have a dog now, but he was allergic to dogs, so the dog licked him, but I had to go home and give him a Benadryl.
Yeah.
I didn't bite him, but so, there's other issues too, but it's just a difficult,
Yeah.
or I mean, I kind of like the dog park, or I liked, one of the suggestions came out of, I think, ordinance committee was like, the big meadow there, maybe a fence, you put a fence in part of that.
You probably need 2, one for large dogs.
Yeah, but it's a big enough meadow
Yeah,
where,
yes,
but
totally agree.
then a lot of dog people.
Pardon?
Maybe a third one for cats, too.
Well, the other problem too at Bicentennial Park, again from the Conservation Commission, is the fact that there's not good parking where you enter.
The residents.
And a lot of the residents have issues with people parking on the street, so.
There is a Connecticut general statute that's on point directly with this. It's 22-364, and it's allowing dogs to roam. It is a citation, it's an infraction. So there already is something available if the officers, I mean, that's who, if we do an ordinance, that's who's going to enforce it, right? The officers, there already is something available to them now, so
I think, and what does that say? We got hung up on the dogs under the owner's control, right? That's always the issue that hangs everybody up, so the owners will say, like, we will let our dogs, if I call my dog, he'll come back, but not every dog will come back in that situation. So does that say just roaming, or
it says, no owner or keeper of any dog shall allow such dog to roam at large upon the land of another and not under the control of the owner or keeper. But I mean, it's kind of constructively inferred that if they're jumping on people, they're not under the control of the owner.
Right.
Right, so.
And then if there's even something more serious that it.
Correct, and that's where subsection B is, where if they have violent
We have
tendencies.
strict liability in this state for, yeah.
Intentionally or recklessly violates a provision, I mean, it is available, so if we want to make our own, I'm not sure that we need to, but if we do, we could maybe use this as a template to follow as far as wording or language.
Actually, I think some of that language, Alex, is in our ordinance, but you read it. The requests are coming in that what people are I guess afraid of is, it could be a friendly dog, but they don't know that when the dog's running toward them, it may be a larger dog, and they get concerned. I don't think any of the emails that we got about this where anybody got injured. It's just that they get concerned, they get nervous, and so what they're saying is they're starting to stay away from going hiking or being in the park for those reasons.
Well, honestly, once again, I know we don't have a dog park in this town, but there are some close by. There's one in Cromwell, there's a couple in Cromwell, there's one in Southington. And personally, I think they should be leashed.
Yeah, I mean,
Let them run, then take them to an appropriate place to do so.
Yeah, we've just had so much discussion, and it's been a difficult issue, but so we should probably revisit it again in the ordinance committee maybe and see what we could come up with.
When is the meeting going to be?
That's okay. So that's the next part, Charlie. So the meeting.
So is it going to be the 17th?
Brendan, you can't make it.
No.
So everyone. So who else is on it? So you guys.
I'll come.
You're on.
Is that okay?
Yeah, if you're not appointed on it, you can come.
I can come, but I can't.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, it's
So
17th at what time?
yeah, let's do. Is that all right, Brendan? It's fine. Yeah, let's just get, because I don't think we're going to make decisions that night, but we're going to have a lot of discussion. We've got a lot of things to talk about, so maybe let's just get it started. So, what time? 6:30? Can we do 6:30? The 17th?
It's better for me.
Is that good?
Where?
Where are we gonna, what are we
I
gonna
think
do?
the room was already set up as far as the Board of Finance, Dr. McIntosh's room.
Oh, okay, okay. So we'll do it there on the...
We'll confirm that.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, and, yeah, so we got a lot of things we have to talk about, so, okay.
Can I just ask,
Yeah.
I forwarded 2 emails that I received about this issue to all of you, and I'm not on Facebook, so I don't know anything about Berlin Buzz. But if anybody is, could you put that on there? Because I guess there's been buzz about it, and I have said that the meeting was going to be on the 15th.
Oops.
I don't want anyone to show up and be discouraged or anything,
Right.
but if somebody
So
is
you want it to
bothered-
be put on Berlin Buzz at
It's the 17th.
17?
Yes, please. Thank you for that. I will email the 2 people that had sent me the emails,
I'm going
but
all
just
week,
so
yeah.
that people know about it.
Yeah,
Can you recognize Jenna Cello?
yes,
I
I'm
can
sorry.
post it on the town Facebook page, and then usually people share it onto the Berlin Buzz page.
Okay, so we'll try,
That way it'll become
But
part of the
couple.
town page too.
She's not on mine, so.
we'll try it.
Jen, you have to come up.
No.
It's all right, don't, it's,
We'll get it out there a couple different ways. Yeah, but yeah, I know, because it seems to, every couple of years, it seems to come up again, based upon how many incidences are happen in the park, right? And it's typically Bicentennial Park, but, so anyway. Okay, so we're good on that. All right, so, that's part of your, I guess that was part of your, you're selling your report stage, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so we're good.
The TOD project, we're still continuing to work on that, and at this point, we're working on a purchase and sale agreement. There's a red line addition going back and forth and being reviewed by the town attorney. So we're working on that. Also, that's being sent to bond counsel because we're reviewing the tax implications of a potential sale, because that was purchased with tax-free bonds. We're looking at the ramifications if you sell that property. As part of this, as part of the project, there may be some tax implications there. I talked to you about the community center already. Water Control Commission, there was a meeting scheduled for last Thursday night. There was some confusion about noticing and not noticing so we finally, just to make it clear, we canceled the meeting. We are going to have the meeting this Thursday night, but it's a staff meeting. We're going to continue the staff discussion about technical and financial issues, and we're going to continue. We've distributed the consolidation report that Ray wrote and went to everybody, so we will continue the conversations, and we'll continue with our quarterly meetings. The intent here is to, the 3 water districts have not talked a lot in the last several years. So we're trying to open the dialogue, and so we're going to have that discussion and continue our meetings starting next. We'll just move it to this Thursday, and we'll continue the meetings after that.
And at some point, though, the meeting that was last week was going to be with the council, too?
Yeah, we will work on talking with the districts.
rescheduling that.
One of the issues was the districts said, if the council's going to come, they want to have their boards come. So now they came to noticing requirements.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that was the issue that came up.
Okay.
And so for the sake of making sure that we didn't violate any FOI laws, we finally just said, let's cancel the meeting, and we'll have a staff meeting this week.
And you'll work on the combined meeting?
We'll work on that as part of a group.
Okay.
Just so that you know, if you have any comments, Jan Lund, our animal control officer, is out. She'll be out for a few months. Kate Mattson is the acting animal control officer currently. We've made arrangements with our neighboring towns for weekend coverage. Also, we have some of the staff from Doug Solik's group who also help cover when Jan is out. So she will be back in a couple months.
Kate does a great job. She really does.
She was happy to, because of her, well, just because she has, I think she has a young daughter. She likes getting on the regular schedule right now, so this works out well for her.
Yeah, but she
likes
does a really nice job.
Thank you. Let her know that.
Thank you.
Security projects going on. We are in the process of finalizing the bollards to be installed at the high school. The vestibule project for the schools is still on schedule. Materials are scheduled to be here in February. One school is scheduled to be done in April, Willard School because that's used in the summertime, and the remaining schools will be done in the summertime. So that project is on schedule. The town hall doors is on schedule to be done this spring and summer. We've expanded the scope of it just a little because currently we have the main door is ADA compliant. The other door, we have lots of people who actually don't use that door. They go into the tax office. So we had a discussion, the project group got together recently and decided that we're going to make that door also ADA compliant so that we've had that request from many residents, so we felt that it was important that we make that door easily accessible and ADA compliant also. We are starting negotiations on the mid-manager's contract. That's pretty much the last contract. I think all the other contracts have been negotiated the last couple of years, so we're just beginning our conversation with the mid-manager's contract. As required for the town manager, we started the blight process for 2019. By January 15th, I'm supposed to send a letter out to all of the department heads, which I've done, requesting if they're aware of any sites that should be considered for blight. As you know, we have the one location on 77 Elton Road, which the staff has been working on. For the last couple of weeks, we are within our budget thus far. If you drive by, you'll see a lot of the trees have been removed, a lot of the debris has been picked up. There's a conversation about a boat that's there right now, but we didn't request to remove the boat, so that's going to stay for right now. Within probably 30 days, I will be submitting a report, if necessary, to the council, identifying other locations that can be considered for blight, and we'll proceed from there. The police department jail cell project has gone out to bid, and it's taken a while, but it's taken a while because we were trying to coordinate with other towns, and when you're doing that, it does throw delays in there. But it has gone out to bid, so hopefully within 4 weeks we'll come back and we'll have a project budget with what our money is, and we can do the jail cells. And the last thing, I hope that you saw when you came in, we're doing some cosmetic painting and modifications in the town hall. The feeling was that the town hall is starting to look a little tired downstairs, so Doug Solik had money in his budget. So we're doing some painting and restoration in all the hallways down there. The colors were selected. We went through many iterations of the colors. I didn't want to be the one selecting the colors because I would have picked Battleship Gray. But anyway, the colors have been selected. There was help from, Doug had an architect come in, just helped us with the color selection. Also, as part of this, we're going to, as long as the money holds up, we're going to remove that large desk that's in front of the rotunda. We're going to open that space up. We're also going to put in a table for a computer for residents to come in if they're applying for permits and things. They can go there, apply for permits. We're trying to go toward a virtual town hall, so we make it more accessible for people. The plan right now is to move the wooden plaque that's behind that rotunda. It's no longer the proper seal. I've been in contact with, actually Kate's been in contact with the historic. We've talked about it. There was don't throw it away. We're not going to throw it away. It's going to be in the town hall. We're just moving it to another location. There'll be a new seal there, matching our required seal. And also, one other thing, we are looking at putting up frames, glass frame, up and down the halls, and we're working with the school board. And what we'd like to do is have it so that students can display their art in the halls. And that way, if you think about it, if your child comes home and he says, "Hey, my pictures my paintings at the town hall," they go in and go take a look at it. So we were trying to find ways of making it more friendly that way. So that's what's going on.
Nice. Just the police station, so I know we're doing the cells, that we were going to try and fit the locker room into that too, right? We're going to try and, remember
we've talked about that. I think what they're doing right now is they're trying to make sure they have the money for the police cells, and then they're going to go to the locker rooms, yes. Because the cells themselves require, as we've talked, because of the fronts that we're putting on there, it's not just changing the actual metal bars. You have to change the air conditioning, the air filtering, and the whole thing. So we want to make sure we have enough money for that, and then as part of that, we'll go to the, depending on funds, we'll go on to the locker room. Yes. But part of the locker room also is discussion of what eventually, there's a report that we received, and the Public Building Commission is looking at right now for the, I don't want to say the upgrade. They're looking at the space needs, if the police station would fit in the first floor of this building.
Right. So they haven't finished that yet?
Well, the report's done,
It's done.
and it's been submitted. The initial conclusion was that it fits, but I think the Public Building Commission right now is digesting the report because there were other aspects that need to be considered.
All right. Yeah, so, yeah, because I was disturbed to see that our police commission, I think, was an article in the Herald were saying disturbing things like we're not getting it done or we're stalling or something, and we're going down the road. Obviously, it's a public building commission, we're doing the cells, and they know this. I don't know why anybody would say that, because we are working on it, so, you know, it is in progress, so we'll keep working on it and talk to the public building maybe about how things will fit downstairs. And then just, I know you mentioned school security, but I know we're still looking at, obviously.
I've met with Brian Benigni. We've talked about school security and school security guards. At this point, what we're planning, and I've talked to Kevin Delaney, and we're budgeting for this, and I think Kevin's put some preliminary numbers together, he told me today, is putting the school security department 61. That's that, and we have that where we can do both for the school and for the town. The town administers the money, the school will manage the guards. Preliminary ideas is that would include five guards. One of those guards would be the security, would be the manager. The others would be part-time employees, would work during the school year. So we put together some numbers on that, and we're still massaging that, but that's the plan. And so it would be part of the budgeting season.
Okay, okay. Well, maybe we can talk a little bit more about well, when you get the numbers.
When you say 5 guards, what kind of qualifications?
Well, this is preliminary. I mean, but the idea is that the guards would be retired police officers. We're looking for trained people who have worked in this field, have the proper training. We'll be working with I talked to Chief Klepp, we'll be working with the police department to make sure these people are vetted, they're the right type, they have been trained, they'll go through all the proper training. But again, this is very preliminary, okay? But we need to get into the budget, because right now, you can't implement something when it's not budgeted, so we're trying to get these numbers in the budget.
For next year?
Right.
I mean, the hope is, though, we can hire that coordinator this year.
Correct.
Yeah. All right, so I know we got to talk further about it, but at least it's moving forward, and I think we're pretty much on the same page now with the superintendent. And
I think so, yeah. I think we're in agreement.
I think is good with it too, as far as I know.
As far as I know.
Yeah,
and
no, I know.
I've talked to the business manager, and I think Brian and I have another meeting come up shortly, and we'll go over more details then.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. That's great. Okay, thank you, Jack. So, special committee reports.
I have an update to the calendar committee. Thanks to Kate, she brought something up that typically we don't meet after the election until like 2 weeks later. So we had scheduled a meeting on the 12th. So Kate's going to put this on the agenda for next time, and maybe cancel that meeting for the regular meeting after the swearing-in ceremony on the 19th. Correct?
So the thought was to add a meeting in October, for October 29th, and then to the municipal election is November 5th. We would all be seeking the election if you decide to do that. And then according to charter, the swearing-in ceremony is 2 weeks later. That would be on November 19th. So the thought is to cancel the November 12th meeting. And then after the swearing-in ceremony is an organizational meeting that you would have here that has been done forever. And then we would keep with the rest of the schedule.
And also, Jack has been having conversations with Tina about having a couple meetings at the senior center, correct?
Correct. Kate and I have talked about that. I think we're still waiting for feedback from Tina. My thoughts were we'd try to have one of the April meetings. I felt that was a good time frame because it's during budget season. That would allow you to get their input in the budget. And the other one was I was looking at like the first week in October, toward the fall, in the fall, to give them some perspective on how things are going into the election season. But yeah, we do have a question on the time. I haven't got anything back from Tina, but I can tell you, the feedback I've gotten from them is that they'd like to be earlier in the day, and I'm not sure how that fits into all of your schedules. And when I say earlier, noon, 1 o'clock or something like that, I'm not sure how that works for you. I can tell you there's great enthusiasm up there about having town council meeting, having 1 or 2 meetings up there. I am meeting with them. I do now meet up there twice a month. And that's one of the things that they are very enthused about having you come and have a meeting there.
Okay, I mean, so if we know what are we going to do? We're going to pick a date in April?
We had put out to the senior center the 2 April dates, and then also the October 1st date. And the time is flexible. It's just a matter of, I think, 1 or 2 maybe, or, we can go a little bit later in the afternoon so we don't interrupt with lunch. But I think that the town manager can talk to you, Mayor, and, maybe even...
As long as it's after lunch, so they're happy, they ate lunch, and they'll be happy to see us. Right? Yeah, right.
I don't know, but...
You don't know? Oh, great. That's not good.
My time would be now. The thought too is that it's a little bit lighter in April, and hopefully in that first meeting in October it's not dark yet, and that whole bit. So you could go a little bit more into the afternoon and everything. Whatever you guys decide, because a lot of you still work, so.
Well, I might have to take half a day off, I guess, or a day.
I'll take the day.
Yeah.
Would that work for everybody?
What do you think if we...
Comfortable with the April, October?
If we did it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, is that possible?
Maybe 1:30, just for...
We can do 1:30.
Purposes.
Yes, I got you. No, that's fine.
I prefer later, but I know daylight's important.
Yeah. Would 1:30 be a time we're looking at?
Actually, Barbara's got her hand up.
Oh, yes.
I just wanted to mention that the senior bus starts bringing people back at 3:30, 3:15, so I don't know what your time frame would be if you're thinking 1:30.
I hope it's not 2-3 hours long.
No, we'll get out of there in 2 hours. Yeah, we'll make sure we get out sooner. Yeah.
Okay.
I might get on that bus and go with them.
Well, I'll get on the bus. Yeah, they can take us all home. Yeah, that's fine. So maybe 1:30 would work then. Right? Everybody think 1:30 can work? Okay. Once we get the date ahead of time? Yeah. All right, so we'll shoot for whatever date in April. What do we got, 2 meetings in April, I assume?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll...
And the thought is that's before budget referendum.
Okay.
So I have suggested those dates.
Okay, all right. So we'll work on that. Great, thank you. There's no other special committee reports, right? I don't think anybody met, so, no. Okay, so Council Communications. Anybody got to say? Anybody? No?
The only thing, I guess, going back, sorry, that we're still going to have with Jen, I think she left, schedule a Park and Rec, or Fields Committee meeting in February, it got postponed again.
Yeah, it was the 14th?
Yeah, I think that was the date.
You on February 14th?
Yeah.
Valentine's Day?
Yep.
You guys are going to be home, or you're not going to be doing something with the missus? Or
Later.
Make it a quick meeting.
Yeah.
No, whatever you guys do. It's fine. Okay, so we'll move on to that, and let's, we have an executive session, so there's acceptance of minutes on the December 18th meeting. A motion on those?
Okay, make a motion to accept the December 18th Town Council meeting minutes.
Second on that?
Second.
Thank you very much. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. And we will move, right, a motion to move into our executive session.
Make a motion to move into executive session for personnel matters, Connecticut's General State Statute, Section 1-200, 6, Part A, concerning the appointment, employment, performance, evaluation of a public employee, Mr. Jack Healy.
Second. Okay, and
Invited in
will be Denise Parsons and
Jeff.
Jeff. Ready to not for you? Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, yeah. For now, yeah. For the first one, because we have to. Oh, thanks. The envelope. Thank you for the envelope. I appreciate that. Yeah, negotiable instruments. Okay, so yeah, we have 3 people invited in. And so we have a second on that? We have a second on that? Second. Okay, so at 8:10.